Hi viewers, the me and team here. Welcome back to Let's Play Civ 4 multiplayer with Mao Zedong. And in this video we're building up more military. I will go to the comments. First comment asks, okay the main team, what's your favorite era? And rank them, I guess. Well, my favorite era is the one in which I can win. Or at least get into a position where I can control the game. So in this game it is medieval, although generally warfare in the medieval era sucks because siege bombardment takes so long. I would say that on average, and I'm a little unusual in this regard, that my favorite era is the industrial era. In the industrial era you have access to infantry and artillery, which both of those really have no field counter for a long time, certainly not in the contemporary era. The only thing that beats infantry before tanks is more infantry. Infantry beat paratroopers, infantry beat marines, and of course all previous gunpowder they soundly dominate. Cavalry is okay against them, but they can't really take full advantage of that because cavalry can't flank artillery. And if you have artillery, then you have anti-tanks, so that can protect your stack from tanks as well. So really this era, until the opponent gets like gunships or modern armor, you're almost untouchable in the field. It's really ridiculous how long you can attack with it. Now, granted, you still want to get it. You still want to get there early because you don't want your first wars in that era to take too long. But as long as you get a decent production base, you can carry your industrial era infantry artillery army until the end of the game. So that's that. Yeah, I'm still working up the trebuchets here. Another question I saw was why bulb things instead of settling? It only takes so long that settling's better in the long run. Well, two things. In the long run, we're all dead. Haha. But no, also, you're not considering all the factors when it comes to that. Like, if you just think of a strict payback time, settling versus bulbing, you're ignoring opportunity costs of bulbing, such as trade. Technology trading, although that's not true in this game. You're also ignoring getting to technologies that unlock better research multipliers, like, say, education or astronomy. And in the case of astronomy, you're also losing out on the foreign trade routes, intercontinental foreign trade routes, which are usually quite valuable, as well as some naval dominance and so have it. Also, philosophy bulb, very common deity strategy. I've seen numerous different deity players do it in their walkthroughs on the forum. They'll bulb philosophy, trade it around, and get virtually every medieval technology, assuming they've met all the AIs. It's also possible to found a religion that way. And bulbing philosophy gives you access to more great person points, all of which you would have to wait for if you self-researched it. And if you have trades on, you lose out on all those beaker values as well. In the case of Dan Q here, I would probably not bulb anything but astronomy, whereas astronomy could potentially be valuable. So there's that. Yeah, I closed borders with Pakal here because I thought some AI was trading him horses. And like, who's trading him horses? That's ridiculous. Well, as it turned out, MLS was trading him horses, and I got him to stop doing that. Pakal built all of one horse archer. So that annoyed me, because now it's taking extra time for me to mass up my forces here. And, yeah, Lincoln peace vassaled, which I hate, mind you, and I think I've spoken about this, and in my booty call game, it kind of screwed me over to have it happen to some extent, although capitulation hurt me worse in that game. But anyway, Lincoln peace vassaled to Pakal here, and QNL wants to finish off Lincoln. So QNL is waiting for me to finish preparing for Pakal. So the whole stalling while I walk around in circles around Mr. Culture Bomb with Sistine, that wasn't cool. The whole horses thing, yeah. It makes sense in games where you're trying to screw over the other humans, but in games where you're not trying to screw over the other humans, or especially somebody that, at the time at least, you still think you're going to permanently ally, trading strategic resources that are crucial for the opposition, not so cool. preferably avoid doing something along those lines, generally. Okay, so I'm getting ready here. Yeah, and here I go, right into Pakal's territory. Now, trying to get through the castles is going to be a little painful, but like I said earlier, there's really nothing that's threatening me, as long as I have the Chokanus, and that's especially the case in this war, because so many cities are on hills. That hurts me from the standpoint that most of the cities I'm attacking are going to be on hills, but there's really no counterattacking me because I'm also on hills. So Pakal's pretty much screwed there. He has no answer to the Chokanus, not even that one horse archer he got out, since I have the hill bonus on my Chokanus. Okay, here's another question. I answered it in the comments to some degree, but I think I'll address it here also, as I'm warring. You're going to see me... Well, okay, let me go over the war first. The basic strategy here, since Chokanus are pretty bad straight up against the longbows, well, and also knights, but I'm not seeing any knights, but yeah, they're not so good against longbows. So what I'm using is City Raider 2 trebuchets first to really redline the longbows. I'm looking to get them down to around half strength. Once they're down around half strength, a Chokanu with multiple drill promotions, I think most of them are going to be a drill 3, and their inherent extra first strikes that are available to the unique unit, that will allow them to dominate the longbows and generally survive without taking damage on top of it. So that's a pretty useful amount of collateral. Anyway, the question was, how far is it okay to set away from your capital if you're blocking the AI? And the answer to that is variable. You look at two things. First, if I do this, am I going to antagonize the AI with culture pressure and early borders and get myself into a war that I can't win? And two, can I pay for this with commerce of some kind? Either cottages, maybe a gold mine that's either you start with or the distant city has it. Anything along those lines that can pay for the city, or just if you get to writing soon enough that you can run scientists and possibly even settle one. Now, settling one will get you to philosophy more slowly, but that can be acceptable. If you get the extra land early in the game, your tech rate will suffer, sure, but your long-term tech potential as well as your production potential will go way up. So as long as you can block the AI, and you're actually confident you can block the AI, settling towards it aggressively is effective. Now, I did not do that on this map, and my reasoning for not doing that on this map is that there isn't any decent land to be had. Like, what was I going to do? Settle that city before I even knew about iron? And have it still be bad even now that there is iron there? Or, maybe I was going to run and settle on top of the wine with no food at all. There's no sense in doing that. So, I didn't take the city, saying there's no point in blocking awful land. If you're blocking land, you want to at least make sure that you're going to have some use for it. And in this case, there wasn't any, so I didn't do it. But in other games, I might have considered settling towards him more aggressively, especially because Pakal has a pretty low unit prob, and even though he's not really nice, like he can declare it pleased, he's not all that aggressive, so he's really not threatening. Oh yeah, one final point on the Chokanus is that they themselves inflict collateral, so they redline things pretty quickly in a war like this, and that's handy for me, definitely. I already have 2 cities here. Actually, at this point, MLS is also planning to war against Pakal. I think he said he was going to capture the 2 easternmost cities. As I said earlier, he was planning to go down the communism path, while I went for more quote-unquote warmonger technologies. Although, really, the only thing I got that was truly useful in warfare would be steel, and I don't get that until later. For most of this, he really could have joined this war with me if he wanted to. Probably his bigger limiting factor was his land. He had to settle so far and had so many cities available to him without war. But that limited his military preparation to an extent. Although I've seen players turn that around more rapidly. I would say it's really more his fault for picking financial and running all those cottages. If you want production, you don't work cottages until, like, say, universal suffrage with markets, grocers, and banks. So, yeah, you do not look to short-term production for cottages. And, yeah, he said he could have gone to rifles by the time he got to communism if he went that way. But, truth be told, I would have completely destroyed Pakal before he got to rifles, because that tech pack's actually even a little bit more expensive than communism, I believe. Well, that about does it for this video. I will see you guys in the next part. The Me and Team signing out.